Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why you suddenly feel the urge to buy something you didn't even want 5 minutes ago? Or why, after just one conversation, your opinion about a person, an idea, or even yourself changes completely? Most people believe every decision they make is entirely their own. But what if that isn't always true? Every day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, your brain processes thousands of pieces of information. Most of them never reach your conscious awareness. Instead, your mind quietly filters, organizes, and interprets everything around you, helping you make quick decisions without exhausting your mental energy. This ability is one of the greatest strengths of the human brain, but it's also one of its biggest vulnerabilities. Think about your daily routine. You scroll through social media, watch videos, talk to friends, read headlines, and pass hundreds of advertisements without paying much attention. Yet somehow, certain ideas remain in your mind while others disappear within seconds. Certain products suddenly seem irresistible. Certain people instantly earn your trust, while others don't. Have you ever wondered why? The answer isn't luck, coincidence, or magic. It's psychology. For decades, scientists have studied how people think, why they change their minds, what captures attention, and what motivates action. Their discoveries reveal something fascinating. Human beings don't always make perfectly logical decisions. Instead, our brains often rely on mental shortcuts, emotional signals, and subconscious patterns that simplify everyday life. Most of the time, these shortcuts are incredibly useful. Imagine if you had to carefully analyze every tiny decision you made throughout the day. Choosing breakfast, deciding what clothes to wear, responding to messages, crossing the street, or picking a movie would become mentally exhausting. Your brain creates automatic patterns to save time and energy. But here's the interesting part. The first principle: reverse psychology. At first glance, persuasion seems simple. If you want someone to do something, you ask them directly. If they hesitate, you explain your reasons. If they still refuse, you try to convince them even harder. But human psychology doesn't always work that way. In fact, the harder people feel pushed, the stronger their resistance often becomes. Deep inside, every person values freedom of choice. The moment someone feels that freedom is being threatened, the brain naturally pushes back. Psychologists sometimes refer to this reaction as psychological reactance, the instinct to protect our independence. This is exactly why reverse psychology can be surprisingly effective. Instead of pushing someone toward a decision, you remove the pressure. Rather than insisting your idea is correct, you step back and allow the other person to reach the conclusion themselves. Imagine a manager trying to convince an employee to lead an important project. If the manager repeatedly says, "You have to do this. You're the best person for the job," the employee may begin focusing on the pressure instead of the opportunity. Now, imagine a different approach. The manager calmly says, "I understand if you don't feel ready. This project is challenging, and maybe it's better to wait until you're completely confident." Something interesting happens. Instead of feeling forced, the employee begins thinking independently. Maybe I actually am ready. Perhaps I could handle this. Without realizing it, the employee starts convincing themselves. The idea hasn't changed, but the feeling behind it has. That's the hidden strength of reverse psychology. Of course, this technique doesn't work on everyone or in every situation. If it's used too obviously, people notice the manipulation immediately. But when applied naturally and ethically, allowing people to arrive at their own conclusions often creates stronger commitment than direct persuasion ever could. Now let's move to the second principle. The second principle: the illusion of choice. Most people dislike being told exactly what to do, even when the advice is good. Direct commands can trigger resistance, simply because they remove the feeling of personal control. That's why experienced communicators often avoid giving only one option. Instead, they provide two acceptable choices. Think about how parents speak to young children. Rather than saying, "Go brush your teeth right now,"